Coming to paperback and e-readers this April, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door must take on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess in paperback and e-readers this April. When I first heard about the Milestone relaunch, I was excited. I was getting to see my favorite heroes come back to comics, and I had a reason to go to the comic book store for the first time in years. But when I read Milestone Returns Zero online, that excitement started to fall. And as I read through Milestone Returns Zero, I started to lose my enthusiasm for this Milestone relaunch because that book was so filled with identity politics that the content of the characters was getting lost. Now, after I read Milestone Returns Zero, I was really considering giving the books in the Milestone relaunch a bit of a chance when they came out this April. But once I heard the creative teams that were going to be announced for these books, I practically lost next to all of my interest in these books. Now, the one that troubles me the most is the relaunch of Static. You would think that they would put an A-list writer on this book. But instead of going out here and going to find John Rossum, Dwayne McDuffie's best friend, to write this book so he could stay true to what Dwayne created back when he wrote the original Static comic series and the Static Shock show, what your Milestone's editors like Reginald Hudlin decided to do was go out here and hire Vita Ayala to write Static. Now, your Vita Ayala is a newbie when it comes down to writing comics, and I do not like many of the books that she's produced. I remember reading her Livewire series a while back, and that book practically meandered all throughout the entire 4 or 5 issues of the miniseries, and it was a very difficult read. And I remember reading a couple of her other books, and I just was not enthused by her writing, and having her on this flagship book, as I see it, is a mistake because your Vita Ayala, she really just does not have a good sense of story, and she does not have a good sense of being able to develop good characters and develop good story points. I see it as Vita Ayala not having enough experience as related to writing, and I definitely, if I were editor-in-chief at Milestone, I would not put her on a flagship book like Static, because this is the book that is going to open the door for new readers, and this is going to be the gateway book to readers into the Milestone universe. So I would go out here and I would look to get a seasoned writer like a John Rossum, or go get another seasoned writer out here who has a good handle on the character, because I want the readers to be able to transition into this character and then get introduced to other characters into the Milestone universe. And I would want that first issue to be a gateway into the Milestone universe for new readers and leave a powerful first impression on those readers regarding Virgil Hawkins, regarding his story, and regarding what motivates him to be a hero, and really leave a strong first impression on them, because what I saw in Milestone Returns Zero, that really turned me off, because they went out here and erased Virgil's choice regarding the gun, and that is core to his character. And then after you erase his choice with the gun and then bring in, Vita Ayala on the book, this is not a good look for the book, and it doesn't really build strong momentum for this book, which should be the book that gets everybody excited about Milestone and gets everybody ready to go out here and buy not only the first issue of Static, but also get them eager to pick up the other books like Icon and Rocket and Hardware. Now, the other book that I have an issue with the creative team on is Icon and Rocket, and I have an issue with this creative team because it's got your Reginald Hudlin as one of the writers, and from what I've seen with Reginald Hudlin, he's a little too emotionally involved in order to tell a very compelling story, and I don't really think he's a good fit for this character. Now, your Icon is a brother from another planet, and we need to really see him exploring black culture from an outsider's perspective. Now, some people see him as an equivalent to Superman, and I do see that aspect in the character, but I also would want to explore things like race and culture, similar to what I do with the ISIS character in my ISIS series, and I would be doing some stories similar to House of ISIS or Imitation of Life, where the character is shown experiencing black culture and experience it from an outsider's perspective and having to deal with concepts like racism and white supremacy, all while taking on some bad guys and also exploring aspects of black culture like black on black crime, and also exploring aspects of black culture like this whole monolithic idea. There's a lot of great concepts to explore with the Icon character, but I don't think Reginald Hudlin really understands how to make this character really become an icon for the 21st century. I mean, from what I read in Milestone Returns, which was mostly written by him, he has the Icon character coming across as very condescending, very paternalistic, and that's just not who Icon is. Icon, when he was written, is a black conservative, and he's a character who comes from extremely old school black culture because he was raised in old school black culture, similar to what I did with the ISIS character in my own ISIS series books. So I understand that the character would come from that older culture, that older black culture, and I would like to explore different aspects of culture like I did with the ISIS character, where I'm talking about the black fraternities, I'm talking about, civil rights and different things like that. And I'm talking about all these different aspects of black culture and Icon being a hero and then teaching Rocket from his perspective and then her teaching him about her world because she supposedly grew up in poverty and the projects. There's a lot of great stories with the Icon character, but I don't know if Reginald Hudlin would be able to really dig in deep with this character and explore this character the way that this character needs to be explored, because there's a lot of great stories with Icon, you can tell, a lot of humanized stories about the human condition, and with him being an alien, it's really him understanding something about the black experience and how it's different from any other American experience, and talking about the American dream and how it's a struggle for black people to achieve the American dream. And that's what the Rocket character could be used to contrast on. There's a lot of great storytelling there, but I don't think Reginald Hudlin is the right man for this job, because based on what he wrote in that Milestone Returns Zero, it really doesn't seem like he has a good handle on the character, and he doesn't have a good handle on how to make black history work and make this character a hero that really shows us how a black hero is throughout black culture and how it relates to the black experience. Again, there's so much great storytelling with Icon that can be told, but I don't think Reginald Hudlin is the man to do it. Now, the third book is the only one I really still have some enthusiasm on, because the Hardware book basically is starting to look like the old Hardware book of the 90s. At least we have Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz on the art, and that Dennis Cowan was the original penciler for Hardware. So I think he's part of the creative team, so at least we're getting him on the team, so that's something there. But they have a new artist, Mateus Mahani, on the covers, but the whole thing is the interiors are still gonna have Dennis Cowan in there, and we have Brandon Thomas as the writer. But the thing that means the most to me is you have Dennis Cowan still working on the character he created, So we're going to still see the spirit of the Hardware character, Kurt Metcalf, in place and at heart. And when I think about Hardware, he's a lot like Tony Stark, but he shows us how the issues of black men in corporate America. That's something I really liked about the original Hardware series, because as somebody who worked in business for a while, I know about a lot of the things that Kurt Metcalf went through, where you just get denied your ability to get your due in the workplace, and you feel like you're being treated unjustly in the workplace. So I really like that about the Kurt Metcalf character, in that he was a guy who went out here, he made all these great innovations for Alva, and then Alva didn't want to give him his due. Alva talked about how he was like a son, but did not give him the respect of a son until about issue 17, where he allegedly gave him a partnership in the business. And there's a lot of great stories that still have not been told with the Hardware character. And as I see it, your Hardware is a very fascinating character, because he's this guy, again, he's stuck in corporate America, and he's dealing with all of this racism and white supremacy in corporate America, but he's also still trying to be a hero to the black community. And there's a lot of great conflicts as related to those two worlds, and that's something I also explore with the John Haynes character in The Temptation of John Haynes. I also explored the John Haynes character dealing with that corporate hell and dealing with this racism that's a part of corporate America. And I'm getting ready to do a storyline where I start to explore those corporate issues as related to John Haynes in the John Haynes series. But I also see the Hardware character having a lot of fascinating stories as related to corporations, corporate politics, and him trying to navigate a course as a hero, trying to navigate a way for his brothers and sisters to get compensated in the same way that he was fighting for his due. He's also going to be trying, as I see it in the new series, should be fighting for other brothers and sisters who have talent and potential to get their due. So as I see it with the Hardware character, it's not just about tech, it's also about him understanding that he has an opportunity to open doors for other characters and be able to let other brothers and sisters in. And there needs to be, again, commentary on corporate America and how it treats black people. So there's a lot of great stories there. And I do trust this team, because when you have one of the original creators of the character on that character, that means the spirit and the heart of that character is going to remain true to itself. So out of all the books, Hardware is looking like the best book out of the series. And that's really one of the things that I find to be quite troubling, because this Milestone relaunch, again, all the books should be coming out strong. Now, the artwork, I say, is going to come out strong, because on Static, at least, because Chris Cross always does a solid job. He's always done a solid job ever since he started drawing Blood Syndicate. And I expect nothing but the best from Chris Cross, whose style has evolved over the years as he's done books like Captain Marvel and many others. And I think he's going to take the art to the next level on Static and make it the art absolutely fantastic. Now, Icon and Rocket, again, the art looks absolutely fantastic from Doug Braithwaite. So I expect the art to be rock solid, but the writing is going to be the problem on both Icon and Rocket and Static. And the other thing that really I have an issue with this whole relaunch is, where is the book with the heroine? I mean, if one of the things that irked me about the original Milestone relaunch was there was no book featuring a black woman lead, and here we are launching once again, and no book featuring a black woman lead. I mean, if your Concrete Comics can go out here and have Odina, then why can't Milestone, which has a bigger following, give us a heroine book with a black female lead? Why can't we get that from Milestone? We got it from your Concrete Comics, and we really do need to see a book with a black female lead as part of this relaunch, or at least in the second wave. I mean, that's something that I believe really would cement Milestone's relaunch and help it be a stronger relaunch. And that's something that they really need to bring some balance to this whole relaunch overall. So when I look at this Milestone relaunch, I wanted to be enthusiastic about it, but I'm not really, because the writing just isn't there as I see it. And you really don't have your flagship book written by somebody who really doesn't have much writing experience. You want your flagship book that has the biggest following written by somebody who knows the character story, and can really bring that character story out here to capture the spirit of that character, so that people, when they see this book, they want to go out here and not only buy that book, but they want to buy the next issue, and they want to pick up the other books in the series. So as I see it, I wanted to be enthusiastic about this Milestone relaunch, but I'm not really feeling 2 out of the 3 books. And because I'm not feeling 2 out of the 3 books, I'm going to have to really have a wait and see attitude on these books, and I'll have to come back and really come at and read them, and then come back with a review of those books. But I'm not really, again, feeling these books, and I'm not really feeling this relaunch, because if it's going to be as bad as Milestone Return Zero, then it's not going to be a relaunch, it's going to crash and burn. Now, if you want to see me make more videos about comics, science fiction, and fantasy, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App, or clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to try some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, featuring black heroes and black heroines, like the ISIS series, like the E-Steam series, like the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and my novels like The Thetas, Eternal Night, and A Recipe for Success, you can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. Those who refuse the gift of eternal life are condemned to wander in the darkness of eternal night. Get your copy of Eternal Night